Hey, you're listening to gwot.rocks. This is Kenny Price. I'm your host. This is listed as episode 13. It's really episode 12B because as soon as I posted episode 12 regarding the F-bomb, I realized that in reaching back to reference a story that I read some time ago, that in my dyslexic mind, I pretty much inverted everything except for the basic core of the story and what I was trying to bring to the table. And I want to say that episode 12 was done primarily from mind. I stand by the rest of the story, the rest of episode 12. If I realize I've made a mistake, I'll always be quick to correct it, normally in the next episode. But for you astute listeners out there, I thought, well, someone may say, Kenny totally inverted that part of the story. So I wanted to give you a quick correction while the story's still fresh. And the part I'm referring to in the last podcast on the F-bomb was a book written by Admiral Byrd, not Colonel Byrd. Admiral Byrd was in the U.S. Navy, and it was written from his experience in the 30s that he endured while doing some scientific testing in the Antarctic region rather than the Arctic region. So he was at the South Pole, not the North Pole. He was a admiral, not a colonel, and he was in the Navy, not the Army. So I pretty much, in my dyslexic mind, pretty much inverted everything about that memory of reading the book alone, Lessons on Solitude from an Antarctic Explorer by Admiral Richard Byrd. But I just wanted to be sure that for those astute listeners out there who enjoy hopefully the last podcast, that you perhaps immediately caught the mistakes there, but they were definitely benign and coming out of my semi-dyslexic mind. That was part of my learning disabilities I experienced as a young child, in addition to my colorblindness. That made it very difficult to start first grade and be successful, but I finally did master most of that. But from time to time, my mind will invert. So that was about as 180 out as it can get. But anyway, I just wanted to put that on record and give you the quote because it did have to do with using cussing and the way he found out that the use of cussing is predominantly performative. In other words, a performance for the benefit of others and in the hearing. And that when he was there alone and having to depend on his own prowess to survive in those extreme conditions, he realized that it was not being productive in maintaining survival. And so he brought that, for the most part, to a screeching halt. But anyway, I stand corrected. Anytime I catch a mistake, I'll be quick to make a correction. Of course, you always have the opportunity to respond to me if you think I've misquoted something by sending me an email, and I'll definitely make a correction on that as soon as possible. But hopefully, this will be a limited event. I did want to also say that I'm working on getting another chair to get rid of the squeaking. I went to oil this chair and flipped it over, and when I did, some metallic parts fell out of the base of the chair, so I think I'm literally riding on borrowed time as far as this chair goes. I love it. It's classic. It's cool looking, but it's becoming very undependable. So, believe it or not, it's harder to find a chair that's good for sitting for very long periods of time without paying a lot of money. And it'll shock you on what a desk chair costs. $300 will get you a low-line chair that's built well. So anyway, I'm working on that, but you'll still hear popping and squeaking and squawking from time to time on my desk chair until I get that fixed. But it's 3:28. It's a Saturday morning, and I'm awake. I was up taking an asthma treatment. I've developed asthma as of late. I had it as a child and outgrew it, but a lot of times they say asthma will come back to you in your adult years, and unfortunately it has. So I was awakened and realized the mistake I made. So I stand corrected. I hope you have a great day. Hope you're sound asleep while I'm making this podcast. But I look forward to the next one and excited about what God's doing in our midst. Anyway, hope you have a great rest of the day.